I've been out picking blueberries. I've got about a half a gallon, I guess. It's trying to rain on me though, so I'm gonna have to hurry. I wanted to pick them because I need to. I love to eat them, but also we're having friends over and I want to make a pie for them. Blueberries, any kind of berries really, are labor intensive to pick. That's why there's so many of those pick yourself, farm to, or blueberry, what do you call those? Pick your own. You pick, I guess that's it. Anyway, they are labor intensive, but they're so worth it. I love berries, but blueberries are my favorite for sure. Everybody has their own way of picking them, but one way I like to do is, if I see some berries, I like to put my bucket right under it and then kind of just pull them off or roll them off and let them fall. Because often berries around them are not ripe, and then when they come loose, I'm bad to actually drop them on the ground, so that works well for me. Our blueberries did really good this year, so we've been enjoying them. And I know it's going to make a delicious pie too. The ones we can't eat up or cook up, sometimes I make blueberry jam. I have a video about that I can link to. And then the rest of them I freeze. I just spread them out on a baking sheet, freeze them like that in one layer, and then once they're froze, I remove them and put them in some bags. And then in the winter, when I want to make blueberries or a blueberry pie, blueberry smoothie, all those things, I have them ready. I was able to pick enough blueberries yesterday to actually make my pie I'm going to make, and I have a little bit draining in the sink that I'll be able to, we'll either enjoy them or I'll pop them in the freezer if they don't get eaten the next day or so. So the pie that I'm making is super simple, really, really easy. Miss Cindy taught me how to make blueberry pie years ago. I liked blueberries. I liked blueberries anytime they come my way, but it wasn't something that Granny bought. And we had wild huckleberry. They're little tiny blueberries, kind of think of that, really tiny. They're really good. They grow everywhere here. So I had certainly had them. And I liked blueberries when I went out somewhere and somebody had blueberries, or if I was, at somebody's house that had some, or made a salad with them or something like that, or in the summertime had a fruit plate. But I never really had much access to blueberries until I met Miss Cindy, until me and Matt was married, really till after Corey and Katie was big enough we would go and stay with her during the summer sometimes. And she had a friend, his name was Solly, he lived not too far from her, and he had a big, huge row of blueberries at his house, and he really maintained them and took care of them and kept them manicured, and he picked lots of blueberries from them. And he would always invite us when we would go stay our week with Miss Cindy in the summer. He would invite us to come over and just pick all we wanted and take home with us. And I would just eat blueberries for days. I mean, I would end up freezing some of them, but I'd try to eat them all. They were just so good, and that's when I really fell in love. Blueberries and watermelon are my favorite fruits. But after that, probably after doing that maybe a year or two, he said, well, you like blueberries so much, I should give you some blueberry starts and let you have them at your house too. So he did. He even come all the way out here and brought me some blueberry starts, and just where he got them off his bushes and helped me plant them. And so then, since then, I've been growing blueberries too and really enjoying them. I just love them. They're just one of my favorite things. Sometime during that period is when Miss Cindy said, I'll show you how to make a really easy pie with the blueberries. It's so simple. Now, Jim and I didn't put it in our cookbook in a way. We didn't put the Miss Cindy's blueberry pie, but we did put the same pie recipe, but it's under its peach pie. So if you look on page 206 of the cookbook, if you have a copy of mine and Jim, Celebrating Southern Appalachian Food, and if not, I can put that link in the description below. But if you look on that page, you'll see the same recipe. It's just that you can use peaches, you can use apples, you can use blueberries. I'm sure you can use, other things you can think about. It's just like a basic pie recipe, and then you can use what fruit you want. So it really has served me well all these years, and it's so simple to do too. Nothing fancy, just so simple. So what we're going to need is, I've got my blueberries. You need 3 to 4 cups. I've done it with 3 cups, and then I've done it with 4 cups. So somewhere in that range there. And as far as I was going to say, it might depend on the pie plate that you're using. Mine is a deep dish, and it's 9 inches. You're going to need 2 heaping tablespoons of flour, and that's just all-purpose flour, but if you've only got self-rising, that will work too. And then you need 1/2 stick of butter, so that's 1/4 cup of butter, just cut in slices or cubes. Did I say sugar? I think I did to begin with. Sugar, yeah, you're going to need that. Maybe I didn't. Let me start over at the top so you make sure. You're going to need the blueberries, 3 to 4 cups of blueberries, 1 cup of sugar, 2 heaping tablespoons of flour, butter slices, that 1/2 stick of butter for the top. And then you can need an egg white to brush the top of the crust. Of course, you need the 2 crust. And then you can sprinkle sugar on it. It just gives a pretty brown golden color as it bakes there. And as far as the pie crust, you can make your own. I was going to make my own, but my company's coming and my time's running out. It's been a busy day already, so I'm going to use some store-bought crust. Those that come in like the rolled up kind, I've already got them out right here. They work well. You can make your own too, and you just need two crusts, one for the bottom and one for the top. So now I'm going to show you how it's so easy, how easy it is to put together. Maybe my book will stay there, it may fall. I liked looking, when I looked through my book for it, I've had this forever, just a notebook I got, and I've got another one like with savory things. This one is desserts, breads, muffins, and donuts. And then over the years, when I would get a recipe that I like, I would just glue it down in here if I cut it out of a magazine or something like that. This one of Miss Cindy's, I've wrote it like on a note card. Maybe that was at her house. It's my handwriting. And then I just glued that whole note card in here. See what's right above it. It's a pumpkin pie recipe. On the other side is walnut cake. Sounds good, black walnut cake. And Hershey's 1 bowl syrup cake. It's been ages and ages since I made that. I've cut that probably off the can of Hershey cocoa. Okay, let me get this, and I think I need a rolling pin. Okay. I'm gonna move it all around. So if I do use a rolled up one, what I like to do, maybe put a little bit of flour out on your mat or anything, and I like to give it just a little roll. Just kind of spread it out slightly. And let me tell you up front, I am not a pie maker expert that like the pretty designs or the pretty crimping. I can't do that. But I do make a tasty pie. So I just give it a gentle roll out just to kind of get it ready. I'm going to put this one in here. Just put it in your pie plate. Press it down. I think maybe you can see what I'm doing, I hope so. And then you can just start putting your blueberries in it. See how many you want to put. I think I'll put them all. I think that was 4 cups, so I'll use all of them. Now this is just so easy. The easy part is that then you just take your flour, shake it around. Take your sugar, do the same. If you didn't want to use that much sugar, it's a cup of sugar, you could certainly decrease it if you wanted to. And I'm going to take my pieces of butter and just throw them around on top. Then I need to put the top on it. That's the part I'm not good at. I'm sure you will be though. Miss Cindy's always turned out so pretty. Let me set these over here. Hers turned out just lovely. You can do little designs in it. You do like a leaf or something and cut it out and then lay it beside lay it up there where it can be raised up when it bakes. I'm not good at any of that, but you can certainly do that. the same thing. I'm just going to roll out the edges. Then you lay it on top, and then comes the crimping part. I mostly just start somewhere and start folding it under itself so that it'll attach to that bottom one. I always comfort myself by saying I like things rustic, so that way if it don't come out, just if the way it looks is not exactly perfect, I say, oh well, that was what I was going for, even though it really wasn't. I just worry much more about how something tastes than how it looks, although it's wonderful to have it look pretty. Should always try for that. Okay, now I think it's all connected together. And then I usually just, there's different methods, but I just use usually the one where I put the pastry between my thumb and right in this area, and then I'm just pinching it. And again, I'm not doing it very neatly because I'm just not talented in that way. But it kind of gives it a little scalloped edge. You can get really fancy, and cakes like that or pies like that are just lovely. They really, really are. Okay. So now that I've got that done, you can kind of see it there. I'm sure, like I said, yours will be much prettier if you try this recipe. I'm going to do the egg wash on top. Now, I'm really skimpy. I like to save my eggs, so I usually just put an egg out like this and then dip my little brush in the egg white and just use it, and then I leave the egg like this, and then the next time I make scrambled eggs, which may be, you know, like in the morning, I'll just throw this one in it. And you could skip this step if you didn't want to. I think it'd still just be just fine. Okay. Now, as far as the sugar on top, you could just use white sugar, refined sugar, whatever kind you use, or you could use, like this is some, what is it called? It's like coarser type sugar, and I just sprinkle it on top. Gives it a little nice crunch. And you can again skip this part. You don't have to leave it. I mean, you don't have to do this part if you don't want to. And how much you put is totally up to you. That's probably plenty. And then you need to allow all that goodness while it's bubbling in there. You need to let the steam come out. They make those adorable little birds, like pie birds. You could use one of those. Like I said, you could cut the leaves, do something really fancy, cut a heart, something like that. I typically do like a series of lines. So I might do like one kind of long line, one kind of short line, and then one kind of long line, and that's about as fancy as I get. So I just cut it right there in the middle, just cutting little vents for the juices to come out. And speaking of juices, depending on your blueberries and everything, and sometimes this is a pie that may leak out in your oven, so grab my pan. What I always do is just go ahead and put it on a pan, and that way if it leaks out any, this catches it and I don't have to worry about it being in the bottom of the oven. And so we're going to bake it for an hour, 350 for an hour. And when you first get it out, you need to let it rest, to let all those juices and all that stuff, all that melted sugar and butter and everything kind of solidify back. Most of the time we cannot wait. We cut it and juice and blueberries run out over the plate. It doesn't bother us in the least, but if you leave it, it'll set up better for you. Now today I'm going to try to leave it because I don't want to cut it till my company gets here. So hopefully by then, I'm looking at the clock, I think maybe I'll have time to let it cool enough to where it does solidify back. But when it does, when I get it out and we cut it, I'll be sure to show you what it looks like. Somebody told me to cut two pieces, and it makes it easier. Looks good, huh, Corey?
Looks delicious. Looks really, really good, actually.
Well,
of course, anything you make is good, though.
well, thank you. How nice.
True.
It is still a little runny, but runniness
beautiful,
doesn't
yeah.
bother us.
No, that'll just make it good.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and cut some more pieces. We had supper. We just had really easy hot dogs. I was trying to think of what we had.
What did we have?
And we'll cut the whole pie. Let's see if I can. And everybody's ready for a piece of blueberry pie. Get me a little piece here. Oh. Okay, Corey. This is, you know, Miss Cindy's recipe. Corey loves it too.
Okay, yeah. I do love the recipe.
It's still warm. That's just going to be so good. Hard to beat.
Absolutely.
It's a great recipe though to use with us, like I said, with the peaches, apple.
That's too good.
But blueberries are so good with that crust.
Wow.
Really, really pretty. Pie too, if you use, mine's not as pretty. I guess it's okay.
Oh, it's
Was it
beautiful.
okay? But if you really take time and you know how to crimp the edges, and then you can, you've seen, Corey, how people will trim out a leaf and then take it out and lay it. You can do all kinds of fancy stuff like that.
That's so good.
But the actual recipe is so basic, it's really simple and really easy. Well, we're going to finish cutting up these slices for our friends that's here visiting. We hope that you enjoyed seeing how to make the blueberry pie, and we're always grateful when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia.
And taking this to my house? Just kidding.
I don't think the people in there would let you do
I
that.
think they would.
Okay, pie, people. You ready for pie?